I'm Dan, I'm from Melbourne. I am a carpenter. I work in the inner city there, and my girlfriend lives in Mooloolaba. And I decided just for my Christmas holidays, I wouldn't mind going on a bit of an adventure, and I come up with the idea of going for a bike ride from Melbourne to Mooloolaba. So I plan to do that on my Christmas holidays, and here we are. Alrighty, about 10 k's out of Epping, I got my first climb. Love it. Yeah, so I finished work on December the 19th, and I planned on leaving. I live in Richmond, Melbourne. I planned on leaving on the 20th, but on the 20th there was a heat wave of 44 degrees, so I decided to wait for the next day. It was about 30, a bit more manageable. I learned pretty quickly from there on in that leaving, whether it was 40 degrees or not, didn't matter because I had no choice. Alrighty, lunch, Subway. About 60 k's in for the day. Very windy. About 30 degrees. I'm not sure I'm fit enough to do this every day, but we'll see how we go. Oh mate, I learned pretty quickly I had to have a bit of a structure and routine to my day. When I set off, I just had a plan of doing around about 100 k's a day. I kind of pinpointed a town that I could stop in and stay at a holiday park or a motel or whatnot. And what I learnt was, with the weather and the temperature, I didn't have all day. I had to try and get out of the heat, say around before midday. And that completely turned everything on its head in terms of the plan and stopping and taking footage and photos and kind of enjoying the ride as much as I initially intended. Alrighty guys, day one out the way, done 110k in about 5 hours. Temperature wasn't that hot today. It's probably 25 degrees. Expected to get a lot hotter over the next few days. 35 plus probably for the remainder of the trip. Tent set up here. Recharge batteries. I've got my solar panel out. So you get the blast of the sun. I'm going to hit the hay and recharge my batteries. Tomorrow morning I'm looking at packing up early. It's going to be very windy. Going to make it difficult. Packing this little lightweight tent up in the wind. Should be fun. Good morning guys. Day 2's underway. Lovely sunny morning. I'm sure most days will be sunny. And I'm leaving Seymour, heading to Benalla, another 110k or so. And I have plenty of stops in between. Great day to be alive, people, love it. Pretty much most days I would wake up, pack up the tent, pack up the bike, have it ready to roll, head to a service station or a food works or whatnot, and I'd stock up on the food I'd need for that day, fluids, and hit the road and try and get to where I was going to before midday. The fields of gold. I got this road all to myself and everyone else is on the Hume. Fucking beautiful. Solar panel, charging the batteries. I'm listening to music and I'm rambling. So I left Melbourne and went up the Hume Highway towards the New South Wales border, ended up in Yarrawonga, and I decided to head up to Queensland through the guts of New South Wales, through the kind of central west area. So with the drought, like I planned on going along up the coast. So I never even knew there was a drought or any of this. I just thought, oh yeah, I'll go up the coast, it'll be nice, touristy, rah-de-rah. And then when the fires started to happen, I started to realise, right, I saw they were all down the coastline and kind of not really inland, so I thought, right, I'm going inland. And then I realised that inland's 10 to 12 degrees hotter every day. And the drought was what came to the forefront, like just the impact they had visually. I'd be riding along in Victoria, it'd be kind of green and oh yeah, rah-de-rah, and I actually thought Victoria was dry until I got into New South Wales, and the moment I got into a town called Urana, which is in the central south New South Wales, that kind of brought a tear to my eye. So dry. I didn't see a river or a stream with water in it between Yarrawonga and the Queensland border. Alright, for the first time I'm actually a bit worried about a fire. The smoke's gotten a lot fresher. If you can see straight ahead, but it's just, there's no visibility now. It's probably the worst it's been, and I've looked on the website, it said there's no fires, but that's not to say there's not one that hasn't been reported, so risky, but I'll give it a go, and if I get caught in something I'll just have to stand in the middle of a grass field and spray water around me and pray it doesn't come to me. You can never be too careful, I think, with bushfires. I've seen one in Parks lit up the other day, and it travelled so fast. It was just unreal. It had a roar. Every time a tree would light up, it would roar and crack and bang, and I can see how people get caught in them. They're a very underappreciated beast, no doubt about that. And look at the visibility. Unbelievable. Once I got into New South Wales, I realised like it was a complete different world. Some places hadn't seen rain for 3 to 5 years, and just seeing the land and the really sad seeing all the vegetation and the animals. One picture that hit home to me, and I didn't get it on camera, but there was a whole lot of animals around a tree just looking for some shade, and that tree had split and fallen off, and that tree it was massive, like it must have been there for a couple of 100 years, and for that tree obviously can adapt and live in that environment, but it's that bad now that not even that tree could survive. And it just started to the whole climate change thing just hit home. I was like, wow, it's really happening. But most of us are stuck in our suburban metropolitan areas. We don't really see it. We hear about it and we go, oh yeah. 70k down today. It's 1:45. Making good time. 110k today, so 40 to go. It's just much the same, really. Parks and Forbes, they were the only towns that had water, and there was such a good feeling to ride into those towns, because it was just like desolate, barren, desert, like the land was just, it was a drought. It was horrendous. And then you go into these towns and they were like green. I saw green grass, and I saw there was a river going through the town there, and it just, man, I didn't know water could make you so happy. But and then that showed me that all the land needs is a little bit of rain. That's all it needs, and then there's all this life. And every day was different. Like I knew just every day I had to get from A to B, and that's the easy part of saying, right, I got to get to here. But every day kind of had its challenges. The consistency was the heat. Like I didn't have a day below 39 degrees. So I really had to get the ride done in the morning. And the way I did it generally was I'd leave about 5:30, 6 o'clock. I'd have my fluids stacked up. I would have had a quick bite to eat wherever, with the servo or whatever I stopped off in the morning, and I'd try and bang out 30 or 40k as my morning session, and then I'd have like a drink and a morning tea, and then I'd look at the map and on my GPS unit, and I'd break down. I got 60k left or 80k left or whatever it was, and I'd break that down into increments. I go, right, I'll try and get to 20k before I stop again, and then, I mean, that sounds crazy because it's like, oh, and another 20k and another, but to kill kind of to stop my mind kind of battling what's ahead of me, I'd listen to audiobooks and podcasts and music as well, and that kind of, it's funny, it just distracts you, and before you know it, the ride became background noise, the physical effort became background noise, which surprised me, especially for the first week and a half. It just, I don't know, just before you know it, I look down and there's, oh, I've only got 10k to go, and that was awesome. So just little goals to myself every day helped. It's very quiet out here, and you can see the smoke, and you can see, well, nothing. There's just nothing out here. It's unbelievable. Not surprising though. Australia. Haven't seen one car this morning, so apocalypse, I don't know. $30k, it's not a bad little go. Gotta hydrate, got my camel pack, I've got water bottles. Bottles at the front, 50-50 bottles. The brand's 50-50, I got it from MacPack. They were amazing, they kept water cold all day. And so I would fill those up, and there was only 2 litres. I got a camel pack, which is another 2 litres, but that water wouldn't stay cold for long, so I really had to smash that early. So there. And I'd get Gatorade powder and make Gatorade in the back of there's a tumbler in the back there. Well, I didn't pack lightly. I took a camera with me. Beautiful. Digital camera. I took a GoPro and a drone. I just wanted to take like as much footage as I could. I genuinely thought I'd take more. I did it at the start and near the end, but just didn't realise how much effort it would have been to ride and use all that technology I brought with me. I used the GoPro Hero 7 Black, I think it's called. I used that the most. That was just so versatile, easy to pull out, take a shot, ramble, and get on with the ride. But having the drone was cool too, because it just give like different perspective and show also the land and how dry and barren it is, which was pretty cool. I called it Trek, is my friend. Trek is a dual sport 2, I think it's called, a dual sport 2. It's like a lower end hybrid bike, and I always recommended to just scrap that and buy like a gravel road bike, which made a lot of sense, and they're completely right. Like it's not designed for the distance I did, but I'd had the bike for all of last year, and I'd ridden, to and from work on it. I just felt this I was like, yeah, I can do it on that. Like I just felt obligated to give it a go, and so I changed all the drivetrain and that on it. I changed the tyres, and I put Schwalbe Marathons on for. I just heard they're really good for puncture resistance, and that was true. And I kitted it out. I changed the handlebars, the seat, just made a few mods, the pedals, and really happy with it. Really happy with it. Like, it got me here. So I guess if I go and ride one of those other higher end models, I'll be like, oh, this is much better. But I had no complaints with it. I did break some spokes, but that could happen to any bike. It's not like it didn't fail me. It was just like riding 2000k's in a short amount of time. Something might go wrong, and I was very grateful just to be spokes. I didn't carry like everything with me in one go. What I did was, whatever town I ended up that night, I'd stock up on what I needed. I generally just could find a Coles or an IGA, or so that just it depended what town I was in. Some towns had 100 people, some had 10,000 people. So, if it was a small town, I would just have a small little shop, and I'd be limited what I could get. But generally, I'd set up the tent, set up the mattress, get my solar panel going, charging whatever GoPro or camera needed charging, and I'd lock up the tent and. It sounds silly, but just a couple of zip ties on the zipper, and just to deter anyone breaking into it, head down to a supermarket, stock up on dinner, and breakfast in the morning if I could, or fluids in the morning, and I could leave them in the refrigerator of where I was staying, and then I could deal with that then. Yeah. There is no visibility now. All I can see is the road and smoke. Unreal. It's about 38 degrees. Oh, it's going to hit 40 today. But I'm doing it. Feeling comfortable. Plenty of muesli bars, water, mix a bit of Powerade as well. Lollies, Skittles, oh Skittles. I got Birkenstocks. I know that's controversial, but God, they're comfortable and they don't smell. I wear shoes every day. Ugh. That'd be pretty manky. Happy Christmas Eve, people. Be safe out there. Yeah, I stumbled on using these by mistake. It's just they were real comfortable, and I rode to somewhere. I think I rode to work one day in them, and I was like, that wasn't too bad. And then I decided I'll go for a ride on the Yarra Trail in Melbourne, and just go for a bigger ride and see how comfortable they are. And they were fine. So I thought, you know what, I'm riding in these. It saved me taking shoes as well, and feeling good actually. The Birkenstocks, they're serving me well. They're very controversial, I know, people, but goddamn, they're very comfortable. I listen to a lot of podcasts and music and all that with my earphones, and then I realised just with the earphones on, you can't really, especially in the middle of nowhere, you can't hear a car creeping up on you, which is quite important, because the roads aren't really designed for cyclists. Bose have these sunglasses with Bluetooth speakers in them, and I thought it sounded gimmicky. Oh yeah, whatever. But I went and I did a bit of research online and thought it's a good idea, because you can hear the peripheral, you can hear noises from around you, and I thought, why not? I'll buy them for the ride. And double-edged sword, they're like sunglasses. So, well, they are sunglasses. So I'd whack them on. And I could be listening to whatever, and I could still hear a car or a truck approaching. I could hear an animal, or even better, a dog chasing me from someone's property, especially farmers' dogs. Good Lord, farmers' dogs hated me. I also had a GPS unit given to me by Trek in Richmond, and it was the Wahoo Element Roam. And that's it there, and that changed my life. It's a life changer. So I was able to load maps through an app called Ride with GPS, and this unit was able to upload the Ride with GPS maps onto it, so I could just scroll through, hit it, and it would give me the distance, elevation, the actual map. It would tell me, turn left in 200 meters, go here, and it was just unreal. I went on some back roads, some gravel farm roads, some roads that weren't even roads. But this got me there, so I can't speak highly enough of it. And also, even better, I could send the people, a few people that I really care about, I sent a link to that you could send through the app, and it's a live tracker, and they could click on it and it would tell them exactly where I was at that time. And you'll see in some of the footage, even Tegan texts me saying, "Oh, you're crossing a bridge," and I read the message and I'm like, "How do you know?" Oh, you're an angel. Yeah, baby, you just text me. I'm going over the bridge. Amazing. You know, and then I realised, oh, she's looking at the tracker. So that was I was quite excited about that. The Wahoo. And I paired that up with the phone, and bloody beauty. Sleepy town of Narendra. It's one of the bigger ones I've been through. 160k today. I've already clocked off 20, it's 7 o'clock. Good morning. Alright, after today I'll be halfway, people. Yes! That's a little bit exciting. It's been like 40 degrees like every day, at least. So I'm trying to whack out every ride in the morning. Look at that. It's more of the same, really. I'm trying to whack out every ride in the mornings, and then I get to a town, and if it's got a swimming pool, I'll set up camp there. Spend the day at the pool. Oh, it's the only way. On to Dubbo tomorrow, and up the guts of New South Wales, still going to Toowoomba, and then over to Mooloolaba. Just with the heat and having to cool down, like the only way I could cool down was a swimming pool or a cold shower. Like, I'd drink as much water as you want. There's no better feeling than just diving in a pool after being on the road all day, and it just instant, like, oh, something so simple as diving in a pool made you so happy. Unbelievable. But then I realised too, because the heat was always, the afternoon was the hottest, until about 7 o'clock I had to stay at the pool and spend most of my day at the pool. So whatever town I went to, if the holiday park had a pool, I'd use that. Otherwise I'd go and find a public pool, and I'd stay there all day. And to kill time, I'd do things as silly as just chuck some coins in the water and dive in and get them, and just keep myself entertained for 5 or 6 hours every day. But it's just what you had to do. It's, yeah. Nearly halfway. Oh. Happy New Year. Alrighty. Should have 10 days to go to Mooloolaba. Starting to get a bit tedious now. Going through a bit more of a foresty area. Just going to keep my eyes open for fires and stay out of trouble, really. 2020, huh? Jeepers. It's just as close to 2050 as it is to 1990. How crazy is that? Well, time flies when you're having fun, right? We're very smoky out here. Just about 100k west of Dubbo. Yeah, it's pretty scary, to be honest, because I haven't seen any vehicles. I've checked the New South Wales fire service app. I've got reception in most areas, which is pretty cool. There's nothing on the New South Wales fires app, but I don't know, I mean, there is always a chance that there are fires that haven't been reported, or it's so vast, it's unbelievable. Like, I haven't seen a person I left the last town about an hour ago, haven't seen anyone. No one driving by. Very eerie feeling out here. Maybe because it's New Year's Day. It's probably a good point. Everyone's hungover. Except for me. Oh, all the smoke though gives me a headache. Fuck me. Look at that. I average about 20k an hour. Unless I get a strong headwind, it drops me down to about 15, 14, but like more effort. Fucking sucks. I'm starting to get a bit of a headwind now actually. Yeah, a couple of southerly days would be nice. Been fighting a headwind for the last 4 or 5 days and I've had enough of it. Anyway, ciao for now. It's a desert out here. This is easily the hardest day I've ever done. Because of that little detour this morning. I've only hit 70k, just about halfway. I'm well into my water supply. It's hot. It's a gravel dirt road. And I still haven't seen anybody. This is like the desert, I swear to God. You'll see like at the start of the journey I was all happy and jovial and singing away and it was exciting. So the beauty about going inland New South Wales, it was so flat. I was like low key, like fist pumping, like yes, no hills, you know. But then when it wasn't a hill, it was a headwind, and it was all day just bam in my face. And because it was flat and there was no trees and no cover, I was just fighting the wind the whole way, all day. And lows. But yeah, I got to a few points. Sometimes I had to walk the bike. The worst was near the end when I was meeting Tegan. I couldn't ride, I just had to walk it. The back wheel was broken, it was rubbing on the brakes, I was on a gravel road, it was a shit situation to be in, and I was near the end of the ride, so I just thought I'd hit a wall. But when I look back at earlier in like middle New South Wales, there were some winds. I was just pedaling as hard as I could for 6 hours straight, and it was horrible. So I went into some dark places, and it's funny, like you do these things on your own and you're like, oh, you know, solo effort and blah blah blah. But so Tegan would text me during the ride and just be like, halfway, you're nearly there, and she just seen that text was like, all right, someone's watching, I've got to get this done. It was a bit of a driver, and it just boosted the spirits on those tough days. With the highs, I just think like every morning I was just real wrapped with the sunrise, and I woke up in a good frame of mind. I don't know if it was because every day I knew I was ticking off and getting closer to the end goal. I can't really explain it because I was so sore. I was so I had minor heat stroke, and I was so tired. Like I never really slept that well. Alrighty, finally, I'm crossing the Queensland border, and there's a river. Finally, a river with water. Amazing. Oh. I made it from Melbourne to Queensland. Oh, 3 k's to go for the day. I've done 130 already. It's only 38 degrees actually. It's the coldest day I've had. Alrighty. First day riding in Queensland. and already I can see the changes. The trees are greener. It's actually not as hot. It's not as warm. It's a real shock when you just cross the border and it's fucking different. Anyway, 100k today. I got my my Bluetooth sunglasses on, so I'm listening to some audio books as I ride. No one out here as usual. It's just you and Mother Nature sometimes. And flies, actually. No, there's flies. They'll hang out with you. Flies are like man's best friend, really. They're very loyal, aren't they? Fuck me.
Here he is. She'll be coming round the mountain when she comes.
Hey, baby.
Woo-hoo. Gonna turn right soon.
Oh, hun, I'm so tired.
Oh.
Like, need to sleep tired.
Yeah, watch this car coming.
The last 5 days, I started to really battle with the bike, and I'd broken a spoke, and I thought I'll try and just get to the end with it broken. And what I didn't realise was spokes kept breaking, and the wheel was warping that much. The back wheel, it was rubbing on the brakes. So I was just fighting the brakes like the whole way, and I thought, this is my amateur bike riding experience, I thought that I'd hit a wall and I had enough, and you know, that was that. But then I got to a pit stop with Tegan, and we were having a drink, and I said to her, look, it's not going to last much longer, like the wheel's really bad. And even she noticed it. She said, yeah, I can tell it's moving all over the show. I thought it's going to break, it's going to collapse. And just as we took off from that area, I just went through this little town, I forgot the name of it, but I went through this little town randomly instead of going on the freeway, and I thought I'd join the freeway after it, and there was a Trek bike store in this town. I couldn't believe it. Went in there and the guy fixed my wheel, and it just, that lifted my spirits, because I was able, the moment I got on it, I was like, oh, this is so much better. I rode a dream, and I was so grateful for that. Second to last day, people. God, it feels good. Baby moo-moo. The cutest baby moo-moos. Little baby cows. Just off with some water, and then the magic. Oh my Lord. They stop you from fainting. Amazing. All right, 30k to go, and then the last day tomorrow, and I'm so happy about that. My body, my voice. Oh, I'm ruined, but God, it's been good. A great day to have on your last day. I'm watching the NFL playoffs live as I ride. Here we are. How good's technology? Got the sound of my earpiece. I'll be in Mooloolaba in about 6 hours, and the body needs to recover. Jeepers, I'm very sore. Got a lot of hills to do today, so I'm just going to take my time. But it's so good to see some green trees and grass, and it's really sad what's happening down through New South Wales with the drought. I just hope they get some rain soon. Yeah, so I wanted to raise awareness for men's mental health. That was wasn't a main reason why I went on the ride. It was a bit of a driving force. So I always go on walkabout, as they say, or an adventure, and I decided that this was going to be my adventure, and I thought maybe raising awareness for men's mental health could be a good option, just to show men out there that, especially ones who are in a dark place or struggling, could find an alternative to their mindset. They could, if they're doing the same thing all the time, around the same people, the same environment, and they're in that dark place, it's hard to get out of it. And sometimes you just need to step outside your comfort zone or do something completely different. I've never done something like this before. I go hiking and camping, but I've never done a bike ride like this. And I decided that would be a way to show doing something different can help just clear the mind. It's good for the universe between your ears, because all of a sudden you're battling with getting from A to B every day, and you're doing this challenge, you're doing what's in front of you, and everything at home that's bothering you or bringing you down it all becomes background noise, and eventually you realise there's more to life than just what you're feeling at this point in time. And there's the Glasshouse Mountains in the background. Such a change in the landscape just over the last day or two. Unbelievable. Had a little bit of rain too. I haven't had any rain since Melbourne. So that was so good. For once, it was so good to feel the rain. It's amazing what 20 days in the heat wave can do to you.
Yeah, well, I guess when he mentioned it, I was kind of a bit skeptical, like, okay, he wants to ride from Melbourne to Mooloolaba.
You and me both.
And just sort of let it go, and that was sort of the end of it for probably like a month, and brought it up again, and I was like, okay, I think he really wants to do it. Who am I to stop him? He'd always go on solo hikes. He's been solo hiking up to the snow by himself and that sort of thing. So I love that about him. I love that he's independent and goes on adventures by himself and
Walkabout.
So yeah, I love that part of him, and I think it's inspiring, and definitely this was very inspiring. Like, who does that on their holidays just for fun? So yeah, as soon as he decided that he really wanted to do it, I was all for it, and just wanted to be there to support him. So whatever that looked like, whether it was just sending those silly texts or giving him words of encouragement, and yeah, I had no doubt.
It's funny, those silly texts. No, seriously though, those silly texts were just got you out of that dark spot. You know, like, you go into some dark places out there in that heat, with that amount of distance to ride, with that amount of weight on your back. Oh, yeah. She was really good about it from day. I didn't even know you were skeptical.
Yeah.
So
well,
that was. You weren't the only one. I was pretty skeptical as well.
I'm not going to say don't do it.
A lot of my friends thought I was crazy. They were like, mate, you're crazy. It's no way, not a chance, rah-de-rah. And I tend to agree with them. Like, it was, yeah, this is going to be a challenge, but that's what it was, man. It was like, I'm up. I've got to roll my sleeves up if I want to do this. And I can say I've done it now. Like, it's not something people will, like 9 times out of 10, no one wants to do something like that. I get it, but hey, it was something that drove me, and I wanted to do it, and I did it, and no one can take that away from me. I'm pretty proud of it.